Okay, thank you everyone for getting on the call today. So Erin Daly is with us today and she is our moderator. So we're going to run this call like we have the other calls. If this is your first time joining us, we are going to pause occasionally for questions. And if you are using a dial-in feature, you're going to hit *9 to raise your hand. And then when you raise your hand and Erin sees that, she will unmute you. And then when you're done your question, you will be remuted. If you are using the app, if you go in the bottom right corner, there's a more button, and then there's a raise hand button. So you'll double tap the raise hand. Erin will say your name. Also, if you haven't like logged into your Zoom account, then you come in as a phone number. And so she'll identify you as the last 4 digits of your phone number. And then we'll take your question and then we will remute you. So that's how we'll run things today. We have Sean Spears with us, who has been teaching home management since 2000. And he has lots of great tips for us about grocery shopping and what you would use first. Some good recipe ideas for kind of staples that most people have on hand, and some other really great topics. We're also going to talk about using lists effectively. So using goal lists and action lists and cleaning lists, and all that stuff. And joining us on the call also is Carly Prince, who teaches home management in Iowa at the Iowa Center. So I know that she'll probably have a lot of great tips to throw in as well. So I'm going to turn this over to Sean.
All right. Like she said, this is Sean, and I wanted to welcome everybody here to the forum, I guess, so to speak. So I'll be talking about some different topics for us being at home. I know people are getting stir crazy being at home. I know I am. But one of the things I like to do is for myself is cook and clean, and I do all those things. So those are kind of my therapies when I have nothing else to do, like now. So one of the first topics I'll dive a little bit into is delivery services. There are a couple out there that you could use for getting groceries, and if anybody has any other ideas, please feel free to jump in. I know I used just last week. It's called Postmates. Postmates, they do charge a service fee, and will go to grocery stores for you to pick up groceries that you need or any essentials that you need. They also deliver food, as well as another place is DoorDash. That's another service that will do the same thing, like bring you food. As far as I know, DoorDash does not go to the grocery store for you. There's one called, is it Shift or something like that? And they also do grocery shopping and bring the items to your house. Now, I did see on one of the apps, I believe it might have been Uber Eats, for those who, don't want to feel like cooking that day. They have a feature now that they'll just drop off the food to your doorstep, and you don't have to go have any contact with the driver or whatever, versus, having direct contact with them. I know the next item that I'll talk about is the access line that I think Jessica and Maureen helped set up.
Before we move on to that, Sean, do we want to before we move on to each topic, we can take a break and see if anybody has any other delivery services that they're using or any questions before we move on?
Yeah. I'm going to unmute is it Eileen Sweet? You are unmuted.
Perfect.
Hello, it's Eileen. It's supposed to say, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you, Eileen.
Okay. So it's supposed to say Sweet G, but it didn't let me put a space in between. But it's irrelevant, really. But I wanted to mention that Instacart does a pretty good job. It's a battle, honestly, no matter what service you go through, especially now because they're not going to have things. But Instacart, if you use them, they generally have pretty good coupons. Like sometimes they'll give you $20 off coupons, or they'll say if this is your first time using them, they'll give you like 5 free delivery options. So I just kind of wanted to mention that.
Yeah, thank you, Eileen. That's a great point. I also wanted to mention that Uber Eats right now is offering free delivery from any local restaurant. So during this time, as we know, with restaurants being in a lot of states, restaurants are closed down and you can only do takeout or delivery. And so to support our local restaurants, Uber is giving free delivery. And so when you go into the app, they'll have a local restaurant category now, and then you can browse all the restaurants in your area and get free delivery. Was there
like last night I had,
Catherine.
was trying to order some food, but of course they only had 3 different ones that you could choose from out of our neighborhood, which I did not know that, and so I ended up having to pay a hefty delivery fee, which I did not like, but I did enjoy the food though.
Well, that's good. Any other questions, Erin, that you're seeing?
There's no other hands raised, but I did want to note that if you are unable to find the hand raise function, if you type in the Zoom group chat, I will see that there and I will either read your comment or unmute you there if you're unable to do that. Oh, and we do have another hand raised.
All right.
One moment. All right, you're unmuted, 2357.
Hey, this is Carly Prinz. I don't think I heard you guys mention this, but also Walmart, if I did, I'm sorry if I'm repeating this, but Walmart also has a delivery service for groceries as well. I've found that it's not as, and if you put the code delivery in, it's a free, I don't know how many times you can do it, but if you put in delivery for your promo code, you can get free delivery. It's not as instant that I found as Instacart, whereas Instacart you can usually, well, maybe not right now, but you can usually do 2 hours for Instacart or something like that. Walmart, I've found it's maybe like a day in advance that you can get it. But they have a lot of variety if you wanted, more bulk or, different stuff that may not necessarily be food for groceries, things of that sort.
Yeah, thank you, Carly. So yeah, when you put in the delivery, it's 1 week of free delivery when you put in that promo code. And then along with Walmart, there's Amazon Fresh as well. I think what a lot of people are experiencing, and I know I am, is that there are no delivery windows available. Like on Amazon Fresh right now, you can't get anything. Last time I went on Walmart, you couldn't get anything for 7 days. So I think that's part of the problem that we're running into with grocery delivery. I know that some people are having some luck and getting some spots, and so it's always a good thing that if you know somebody that's nearby to you, that if you could check in with them and see if they need something, a neighbor, it's a good thing to do because the delivery spots are so far and few between. And yeah, so thanks, Carly, for reminding us about the Walmart. Okay, do we want to move on?
We have, one more
question.
Yeah,
go for it.
Kat Hanks, you are unmuted.
Hi, this is Kat Hanks, and I was commenting about hush. I'm sorry, I'm talking to my phone who's deciding to talk in the middle of things. I forget, I think I need to mute my speech during this thing. Anyway, I guess, I've never tried Shipt during this time, but I'm assuming that this, were people having, who else has been on Shipt? Because I don't know. I know that there's been the other thing, guys, is if people need groceries delivered, now I don't know if this is the case with anyone, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, but if people know people from churches or things, like our church is helping out with if things need to be delivered, that's a possibility. So that might be an option for you guys too. But I didn't know how Shipt was as far as delivery was concerned. Is it similar to Walmart? Does anybody know?
Well, from what I know, it's similar to Instacart. They have their own people that they affiliate with, or companies they affiliate with, and
Target is one of them. Target uses Shipt exclusively.
Yeah, and so you go through there just like you were doing, like the Instacart app or whatever. Pick the place you want. It's going to pull up the store, inventory, I guess, and then you just put stuff in your cart and checkout, and then you have to schedule your time and all that for delivery. But I'm not sure how if how much they may be affected. Because I know when I tried to use Instacart last week, it was the times were a little scattered or whatever. So I'm not sure if Shipt is the same.
Yeah, one thing also to keep in mind is, Amazon is only delivering essential items right now. So they are focusing on getting the essential needs to people delivered. And so that does include, though, that you can use Amazon, their pantry stuff. So like, I know that on the 30th, we have a pantry order getting delivered. So if you're able to think ahead about stuff that's, shelf stable, you can still get that through Amazon, which is really great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. We have one more. Robert, you are unmuted.
Thank you. I thought I would just give you all a helpful technical hand here. For anyone who is using the Zoom app and having difficulty finding the hand raise button, you want to go toward the bottom part of your screen and then tap the More button, and then the hand raise will be you need to do a right swipe 1 or 2 times, and the hand raise button should be right there.
Okay, well, we do have another hand raised now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, we did talk about this when we first started. So if people did enter in a little bit after we started, if you're dialing in, *9 will raise your hand as well.
Okay, Toby Penn, you're unmuted.
Hi, I just wanted to let you know with Amazon, I just ordered Lego Star Wars for my son, and it came in 2 days. Normally it would come in 1 day. Yeah. And I ordered something for my dog, a little chew toy. So I don't know, maybe it's just Prime. It's taking longer. Normally I get it in 1 day, but this time it took 3 days. So they're still ordering things. But if they're out of it, you're not going to get it. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, Sean.
Okay,
sorry,
so more.
Looks like we have one more. You guys keep popping up. iPhone is the name of this one. You're unmuted.
Hi, this is Michelle Haproff from Chris Cole. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Hi, thanks for joining us.
Hey, I'm new at this. I was going to add on to what Toby said in terms of Amazon. Most food items, I was able to order, like, they weren't necessarily Prime, even though I have Prime. And most of them had shipping days like, maybe 3 or 4 days out from when they were going to ship. Like, I got some bread and things like that. But then I also ordered a thermometer, and that came in like regular time. So I think food is still possible, but it's taking about 4 or 5 days before they actually ship it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I think that that they are working hard at this point with kids being home is considered essential. I would think that was an essential item with all the kids being home, but that's really great. I think Amazon is working hard to keep up with all this. So it's good to know to not give up. I think sometimes we can get discouraged when it's like no delivery when you're getting on all these sites, but keep trying for sure.
All right, we have Kat Hanks. You're unmuted.
Hey, well, I was wondering, guys, as far as Amazon, you guys had just said that it was mostly essential items only, but that was the weirdest thing ever because on Sunday, somebody helped me order a pill case, which is kind of essential for me, but I wasn't sure, it certainly wasn't food related or medical related per se. So I'm confused about that.
I think that they are just making people aware that they're going to prioritize essential items, and that, like, I think it was Tubi who said that if they're out of it, then they're just out of it. It's not going to be a priority to get that out, is what it sounds like from the notices that I'm reading on my app from Amazon. So like we said, just try. So let's move on to let Sean talk about the next topic, and then we'll keep stopping for questions.
Okay, so So before you, when you do, when it's time to do all your grocery shopping and stuff, you want to just make sure that, you know, you do a lot of advanced planning. I think Maureen already mentioned this, you know, going through your cupboards, cabinets, and just taking stock of what you have in your home to use as far as things that you want to use for cooking or personal items. You know, we talked about some of the apps like Amazon, Walmart grocery app. What is it? The Instacart app. Those are some of the apps that that you can do a lot of your ordering with. I know I was going through Maureen and Jessica set up this hotline number, and I hope I got the number right. If people in this area here, I want to say Littleton, Maureen, need any assistance, the number you would call in Colorado, the number would be 778-1130 extension 219. And they can coordinate that for you. I know we used one of the volunteers and got our stuff with no issues. So thanks for you guys getting that set up so we could use that that feature. Some things that you want to keep in mind with when going shopping, you know, like you want to use what's going to go bad first. So like fruits and vegetables, you know, when you purchase things like that, you definitely want to get those, you know, out and then save what you have left, you know, left over, like fresh fruits, vegetables, apples, oranges, stuff like that. You want to get that out of there as soon as possible. Bagged salad, things like that. Eggs, milk, you know, eggs tend to last a little bit longer. You know, so those things you can always use with, hold on to those a little bit longer. Let me see here. If anybody has any questions, you can just jump in there. So things that you can use when going to the grocery store, like if you make your grocery list. So some things that you can use would be like cook and serve meals or cook and freeze, like casseroles are good to cook and freeze. You know, I know we made a tater tot casserole, and you could do a meatball parmesan casserole, things like that. Beans and rice. We made last week some chili. We made a lot of it, so we went ahead and froze that. You know, that'll keep us hopefully going for a little while.
All right, Sean, we do have Eileen Sweet G.
Okay.
Unmuted.
Thank you, Sean. I just wanted to also mention with you that that was my idea, to go ahead and try to freeze as many things, as I made a big thing of chili with beans and beef. And so anyway, I sorted that up. It's in my freezer. I've got foods that I'm making. If it's left over, be sure to freeze all that stuff because it should be good for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
You also want to keep in mind something you may not think about, and especially if you get out and you're able to go to the store and you do want to stock up on some fresher items like onions and peppers and potatoes, you can dice up that stuff and freeze it. Like we have a big gallon bag, so we cooked up our potatoes and then we diced those up, and then we just left the onions and the bell peppers raw. You can cut those all up, and we have a big giant gallon bag of, you know, mixed onions, peppers, and potatoes, and we use them for casseroles. We've made enchiladas with them. We put them in breakfast burritos. You can throw them in chili, but it's a great way to get some fresh veggies and not let them go to waste. Tomatoes, you know, you can freeze tomatoes. Once you pull a tomato out of the freezer, the inside of it the skin will just peel away super easy. And then at that point you do need to cook it. Like, so if you wanted to throw it into your casserole or a soup or make a marinara sauce, you can do that. So there are a lot of herbs is another thing. I take an ice cube tray and chop up your herbs. You can do garlic as well. Put it in the little ice cube areas, and then use olive oil And then all you need to do is pop that out and throw it in your pot when you want to saute. So this way you can still have some fresh herbs and some fresh garlic. I know some of the fresh produce is limited at times. So last time we went to the store, and when we found that fresh produce, we just bought it up, you know, and did these techniques and got it frozen.
Yeah. That's some good ideas. One thing I forgot to cover too is like when you're doing your inventory, there are a couple apps that you could also use, like Seeing AI and Ira. I know with Ira, if you have just the 5-minute plan, you know, they're more than willing to help you read labels, as well as Seeing AI. I have found that I get better results with Ira, you know, because I tried to use Seeing AI and no one answers the phone. Be My Eyes. You can also use Seeing AI because it has a scanner on it where you can scan what packages are. Suppose you run into a can of corn or something you don't know what it is, then you can open Seeing AI and go to the scanner feature and scan that can, just like what you can do with Ira and using somebody that's cited to, you know, read things for you.
I also wanted to throw out there with Ira, like Sean mentioned, Ira is free for the first 5 minutes. So you would just download the Ira app, AIRA. But if you are a student, they are offering free subscriptions to Ira if you are a student until the end of May. And you need to send an email to support@ira.io. And I actually did this because I'm in college, and it took about maybe like 48 hours, and I received an email back with the rest of the information I needed to send, and I'm in the process of doing that. And then you can have a free subscription for Ira through April and May, which I think is awesome.
And I know too with Ira, for people that own their businesses, I think it's a 30-minute Ira session as well. And I know I have seen where Ira has been free in certain areas, like Target is a Ira free zone. I think Walgreens, there are King Supers, you know, so like if you have to, you know, feel like you need to go shopping and there's no one available, that may be an option. You know, it's not an option for me because I don't want to have to walk around with my phone in my hand. You know, if I had the glasses, that might be different. But those are, you know, options out there for you. Some other things, you know, making soups and stews and chilies, those are easily frozen. You know, you can use those and then just take a little bit out and freeze whatever you're not going to use. That way you have, you know, more and more stuff, you know, to eat. Okay. Meats and fish, you know, I know a lot of stores don't have a lot of meats. I know when we made our chili last week, we wanted ground beef, but the only thing they had was hamburger patties. So what we did was just took the hamburger patties, I put it up in my food processor, and boom, I had ground beef. And so, you know, if you have an option to, you know, freeze, like I have a big deep freezer, so I kind of bought a lot of meat and then just stored it in my freezer, so I won't have to go as often. You know, I do have, I have like a big meat slicer, so I had gotten some pork chops from Costco that were really big, and so I don't know if anybody's been to Costco and seen how big those pork chops are, but I was able to slice those in half, and 9 pork chops became 18 pork chops. You know, so you know, using what you have at your house, you know, as far as you know, equipment and stuff like that works really well. Frozen meats, you know, frozen meats and fish, those are good to have on hand. Look here. Breads, you know, bagels, wheat bread, light bread, whatever you prefer. I know when we buy a couple of loaves, freeze one. That way we still have, bread in the freezer. I get my milk and eggs from a dairy. So I just had a delivery today. And I know we couldn't find milk in the store, but luckily I had milk come today and eggs. And so I was able to freeze a gallon of milk, and that way I have a gallon left out. And so I have enough eggs to do a lot with. I made tuna fish, made egg salad, and even some boiled eggs, so those are things that we can have to eat on.
Keep in mind when you're freezing dairy, so like you can freeze milk, but you really can't freeze heavy cream. It doesn't come back together once it separates. So when you're freezing milk and you want to thaw it out, I always put it in my sink, and every 30 minutes, 15 minutes, you got to shake it so that it will combine again. Just a tip if you haven't frozen milk before.
Yeah, and that's what I did as well, having my milk in the sink just to let it sit out, and before I went to bed, put it in the refrigerator where it could finish thawing. So like some baking staples like flour, sugar, baking soda, baking powder, yeast, having some stuff like that. So, for those that are, quite the bakers or whatever, if they're out of bread, then hey, maybe I'll just make a loaf of bread, cookies and stuff like that. It's good to kind of have those things. Canned and jarred foods, like canned vegetables, canned fruits, those type of things last a while. So if you were to buy an absorbent amount of them, then, you could be set until the next millennium. I like, I have tons of canned goods on hand, just because, you can just always, they last a while. Canned chilies, pasta sauces, dried beans and rice. Lord knows I bought like 25 pounds of rice the other day, but they didn't have any beans, so I was a little mad about that. So now I have to wait and see when I can get some beans, because I love making red beans and rice.
Keep in mind too, you can also find like canned chicken, canned corned beef, canned salmon, different kinds of fish. That might not be something that you typically look for. Like I know when I first, I taught home management for about 10 years at Colorado Center for the Blind. Also, I remember the first time I found out about canned chicken, I was like kind of blown away. That chicken was in a can. Yeah. But it is available.
Yes. And like going to now talk about frozen foods, like frozen fruits and vegetables, breakfast foods, Eggo waffles, frozen pizzas, stuff like that will stay frozen a while. And again, reiterating that using your fresh stuff first before you tackle the frozen stuff. Personal items, making sure you have deodorant, toothpaste, toilet paper, paper towels, hand soap, cleaning products, making sure your home is clean. I went around yesterday wiping all the light switches down with bleach and hand doorknobs and stuff like that, making sure you have all your essential items that you may need for this long time that we might be home. Do you have any questions?
No one right now.
Okay. Spices, salt, pepper, paprika, chili powder, having some, some staple spices, because a lot of these spices are kind of universal. Basil, oregano, having some of things like that, help make your food taste really good, and things like that. Sauces and like dressings and condiments, like salad dressings, mayo, mustard, ketchup. What else? Relish. People like relish on their hot dogs. Maple syrup for pancakes. I know I'm a syrup person and I love my syrup. Soy sauce, things like that. These things will keep a while, because they have either so much salt in them or so much sugar in them, but they will last a while. Jams, jellies. My son loves a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and as do I. So we made sure we have a couple of jars of peanut butter and jelly or any type of nut butter that you prefer to have. Let's see here. I looked at personal items, shampoo, conditioner, or some things that you definitely don't want to run out of that. I know ladies don't like to run out of their shampoo. Laundry detergent.
That was one of the first things on my list to go out and get. I got a liter of my shampoo and conditioner.
Right. Laundry detergent, washing detergent, and even like you may have laundry dishwashing detergent, but also get the soap for the dishes to hand wash stuff, because you might just have like 2 or 3 spoons to wash. Then why throw those in a dishwasher when you can just hand wash them? That'll save you some time and energy. Those are all the things that I have covered on my list here, Maureen, until we get to the lists or whatever.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any questions right now?
Nothing right now.
Okay. So we were just going to take some time to talk about using lists effectively. And so a lot of times what can happen is, as we all are experiencing, we pretty much all have a lot of extra time on our hands because, our jobs are, working from home, or, we're not going out to dinner, we're not being able to socialize with our friends. And even though we have all this time on our hands, sometimes you actually don't get done the things that you want and should get done. It's really easy to kind of get lost in Netflix or get lost in your Hulu or sitting on your phone. I know for me doing homework, I can just get totally lost in doing homework and working ahead that I don't realize that I've been, sitting down for 5 hours. So remembering to get to stand up, you should be standing up every hour at least. And so if you use, an iPhone, an iWatch, that's going to have your stand reminder. But, you could also just set an alarm on your phone, set an alarm on your Echo Dot, put a reminder on your phone that just, every hour that it reminds you, it buzzes, so you remember to get up, walk around, get some steps in your house, walk up, and if you have steps in your house, walk up and down them a couple times. Also, using your calendars to make sure that you are keeping appointments, and schedules. And even if it's that you're setting time aside to have a virtual happy hour with your friends, or, maybe it's a Bible study or whatever, however you would like to get together with a small group of friends virtually, and put that on your calendar so that you're making sure that you're setting that time aside. All of us need to be in contact with other people. Social networking, social contact, having that is so critically important. And a lot of us at this time, especially if you live alone, you're just not getting that same kind of contact as we once were. It's one of the reasons why the NFB of Colorado, we wanted to get this content out every day at 5, just a way to stay connected. Using your reminders, so in your calendars, you can use Siri. If you have an iPhone, you just say, Siri, set a reminder for blah, 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 whatever time. You can set reminders on your Echo Dot as well. So just know those features are available. And then making goals.
Hi, Mari.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, too, also what I found out today, and I've had Alexa for a while, you can also sync your Echo with your calendar. So add, to do emails and stuff like that. So, working at the center, a lot of our, information comes via email. So me being able to ask Alexa to read my email, it's great, and I just found this out.
That's awesome. I knew you could do it. I haven't done it for myself yet, but maybe I will now. So using lists in your life, like goal lists and action lists, research has shown that actually people who set daily goal lists and action lists are overall more successful. They get more things done and they feel more accomplished throughout their day. So what I do for myself personally is at night, for the next day, I write out 6 or 7 goals that I want to accomplish that day. And what that does, it really helps me to stay accountable to the things that I want to get done that I know are important. And on this goal list, I'm even going to have stuff on like wash my shower curtain, do homework, make 2 casseroles so that I can get those frozen. All kinds of things like that. My work goals, what I want to get finished for work now that I am teleworking. And so all of those are on my daily goal list. And then what I also do is I set what we call action steps. So action steps for my day, because a lot of times when you're looking at this goal list, it might seem a little daunting, or you might put a little bit too much on there, or you might think to yourself, how am I going to get all this done? So then, some maybe more specific goal lists, like if I want to, create so many presentations for Newsline for myself, then I'm going to write email, this place and this place and this place. So I can specifically look at what I need to do to accomplish my goals. And then what's really important is to reward yourself at the end of your completion. So not to forget that we also need self-care. So once I'm done with what's on my action plan list and what's on my goal list, I have something specific in mind that I'm going to reward myself with. And so maybe that's, spending time with my family, or that's, making my social calls that I want to make and chit chat with my friends, or maybe it's doing a face mask or taking a bath with a bath bomb, but something that's specific so that I feel that reward and I feel that self-care. So
accomplished.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
We do have sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say we do have a hand raised. I didn't know when you wanted to stop.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Marianne, you are unmuted.
This is true. It says I am unmuted. I love when it tells us all that stuff. I was going to ask, has anyone started using the app AnyList? I haven't downloaded it yet, but I've heard that it's very accessible. And the nice thing about it is you can link everyone in your family or whatever. So like in my case, and I apologize, I'm kind of half out of breath. I'm exercising while we're doing this call. But anyone in your family you can link onto the AnyList with you. And like in the case of my husband and I, if he remembers that we're out of something, he can add it to the grocery list and I will see it, and that kind of thing.
Oh, that's really cool. I haven't. If anyone else has and you want to raise your hand and tell us how it works, that would be awesome.
What is it called again, Marianne?
AnyList.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so making lists like that are also, especially now if you're using things and you're running out of them, we don't have in our society, in our culture, we have had such an instantly gratified way of life. We've been able to just go out or order whatever we want when we need it. And for all of us, we're experiencing that that's not the case for us anymore. And so keeping a running list, I do it in my Amazon Fresh. Anytime I need something, I just add it into my grocery cart. So then even if I don't necessarily order from there, I can just look inside my cart and see what I need and then get it from wherever I need it. You can also use an Echo Dot and just add things as you go to your grocery list. It can be super, super simple and keep a list in Braille. I used to keep a magnetic list on my refrigerator.
We do have another hand.
Okay.
Karis, you are unmuted.
Karis. Hey, Karis.
Excuse me.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yay,
look at that. So I just wanted to say, I also learned about, when I was over at the center, I learned about an app called Habitica. It almost makes a game out of you doing lists and goals and habits. And you know, I started using that because you know, for a while there I wasn't real good at Braille yet and stuff like that. And so I started using Habitica when I got my new phone. And you know, it's actually it almost makes a game out of it. You can create even weekly or monthly things that you need to do every single week or every single month, even if it's just, you know, cleaning your bathroom or doing your dishes or things like that that you need to keep track of. But you can also create, you know, the same to-do lists for things that you need to get done every day. And then, you know, you mark them off. And as you mark off the things that you get done, you actually level up. It's kind of a fun little thing that has a practical everyday use. So that's kind of a fun app to apply to real life as well.
Yeah, I have heard of Habitica, and I actually used to use that with my students when I worked at the center. So thank you for bringing that up, Karis. That's a really cool, fun thing to use. I just use the notes in my iPhone because I find that to be the easiest for me, and it's easy to look back, and I just do it by day or by week or by month. But thank you, Karis. I love that app. It's very cool. Do we have any other questions or any other comments or, you know, anything that anybody would like to share before we wrap up today?
Nothing right now.
Okay. Well, that is it for our Zoom session today. Tomorrow, we will have Dan Burke from the Colorado Center for the Blind, who is going to be talking about the census that is happening. So the census 2020 is a census year. Even what's going on, everybody still needs to be counted. And I think it's actually probably even way more crucial that we make sure that all of us get counted, as this is how our funding for after school programs and everything you can think of is done because of the census. So Dan is going to be talking to us about all the ways that we are going to be able to get out and get counted still during this during what's happening in our culture at this time. And we will be meeting again in this same CCB classroom at 5 p.m. Thank you so much, Sean, for being our speaker today. And I know that I gained a lot of information, and I hope everybody else did as well. And thank you, Erin, for moderating. So I hope everybody has a great night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow at 5.